Hello, intrepid followers, subscribers, and watchers of my YouTube videos. Today we're doing a review of Wonder Woman the movie. Let's talk about it. So I just got back about 2 hours ago from seeing Wonder Woman the movie the second time. This is an amazing movie. It's one of my favorites. It's gotten like the highest rating you can get on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's even before it came out in the United States. It was during preview month or week when it was just a preview movie. So it's amazing what's going on. So I just want to talk about the movie, and yes, there are spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet, I suggest you stop watching this right now, go see it, then come back. Now if you want to, I have a spoiler-free review, and it'll be right up there. Pop up right there, and you can watch that one. So let's get started, shall we? So Gal Gadot, hands down, amazing job as Wonder Woman. I enjoy her ability to play a strong warrior woman and to play someone who is a fish out of water. That's the best thing about this movie. Is it's an origin movie, but it's not like most origin movies where they have to go all the way back and like spend the whole first half of the movie, the first act of the movie, of them just making the person become the person they are. The whole movie is about her becoming more and more like Wonder Woman and doing all she can to do this. So it's really exciting. You do get a little bit of the back history of her life, but again, like, it doesn't take up too much of the movie, because as soon as she's grown up and she's an adult, boom, man comes to Paradise Island, or Themyscira, and you meet Steve Trevor, and she learns about man's world, and she wants to decide, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and stop the evil that's occurring. The thing is, they made this movie set in the time period of World War I as opposed to World War II. The original storyline takes place just before World War II breaks out, as opposed to in the movie. I actually like that they repositioned it in time to a fixed event in history, and they actually included actual real life people from World War I. One of the characters, played by Danny Houston, is General Ludendorff, and he is an actual person in history and time, and they brought him in to be part of the bad guy scenario. And that's the thing about this movie, is we don't just get to see one bad guy. We find out that he is a bad guy, but we learn just in general how everyone has some good and bad in them. The world is black and white, and I love that about this movie, is we learn to see the world as it truly is, a rough, terrible, difficult place to live, and they bring that so well to life. And I really love that Patty Jenkins, who's the director of this movie, did a great job of doing that. If you're like, who's Patty Jenkins? I've never heard of her before. Well, you might know her from movies like Monster. She directed some Arrested Development. She's a great director. She took the life and the idea of what Wonder Woman is, and they brought it to the big screen in a way I don't think anyone else could have done. I just think she did a great job. She didn't make it too campy. She didn't make it too out of the ordinary. She brought the essence of the character to life in a new way that I have never seen. Now, this is not the first Wonder Woman movie, but this is the first Wonder Woman movie that really connects to the origin story. And they didn't just connect it to like the original origin story, but they looked at all of what's been created for Wonder Woman, all the different parts of what makes her who she is, and that's what they put into this movie. And they made it the epitome of what Wonder Woman is about, and that is love, peace, and happiness. And I just think it did a great job. I mean, there wasn't too many over-the-top special effects. Yes, there were special effects, but they fit with what the character was. They didn't go too over the top. Part of me was expecting to see some like supernatural magical elements to it, but they made those in a way that wasn't too campy, that wasn't too weird, and that wasn't too out there. It wasn't like Roger Corman kind of stuff. It was very much with a modern essence of what we would expect for it to fit into the world she lives in, and the world that has created the larger DC universe world that's been created. We haven't really seen too much magic or supernatural stuff in the DC universe yet. The universe. So we'll have to see if they ever do bring that in with like either Dr. Fate or Zatanna, some of those other characters, but connecting it to Wonder Woman as well. Uh, they did a great job of casting people. The women that played the Amazons, my favorite part about that is when you got to the credits, you actually saw names of women, characters. You saw people like Artemis and Antiopeia and Eobia. Like, it wasn't just, oh, like here's Amazons and then a list of women's names. They gave them names. Melepi, Philippus. I mean, it was a great way of making it actually real and a part of who and what Wonder Woman is. I've been reading Wonder Woman comics since 1984. I did take a break for a little bit in the 90s only because I just felt like it wasn't going the right way. But overall, I still follow the character and love what they've done with it in the comic books. So to bring her to the big screen and bring a human being into playing the role in the big screen is amazing. Some of you out there, I've met a few people who've said, oh, Linda Carter's my Wonder Woman. She'll always be my Wonder Woman. Oh, don't get me wrong. I remember watching Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. She did an amazing job. Amazing job. Gal Gadot, on the same level with it. They're not one better than the other. They're the same level. They're amazing. And it's just a great movie. And a great TV show. One of the things that was really cool is they used Chris Pine to bring some levity to the movie and some funniness to it, but they didn't do it over the top. It wasn't too often. It wasn't too out there. He stayed on point with the character of Steve Trevor, and I love the fact that Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman weren't always trying to save each other. There wasn't this no stereotypical man trying to save woman or woman trying to save man motif that sometimes is seen in these kind of movies. They both had their own things to do. They wanted to do it together, and if they couldn't, they didn't. But it was great. And speaking of earlier when I talked about the bad guy, okay, again, here's a spoiler. I love the fact that the obvious, really bad guy was not Ludendorff. As the movie was progressing, I was like, had this feeling like near the middle of the second act, when they were trying to get to Ludendorff in Germany, I was like, I don't know if he's really the bad guy. There has to be a bigger bad guy because what he's doing is bad and what he wants to do is bad. But it's near the end of World War I. The armistice is about to be signed. Peace is about to come into the world. I don't think he's the one. And so it really was great how, surprise, surprise, the bad guy was not Ludendorff. Ares was someone else. And just the way they connected it back to the origin of Wonder Woman, but also created a new sort of mythos for the gods, and how the gods in the DC universe are pretty much gone. They're dead, or at least the Greek gods. And that goes back to her mythology and who she is. The original Wonder Woman storyline is that she was born on Paradise Island to Hippolyta, the queen, because Hippolyta wanted a child. And so the gods bestowed a child on her by having her make a clay baby, and they brought it to life and gave it superpowers. The most modern version of Wonder Woman's origin story is that she was the daughter of both Hippolyta and Zeus, because, well, that's what Zeus does. That's only recently. That's only been in the last 5 years that idea of him being a part of who she is and what makes her a superhero, makes her super powerful. Now, in my opinion, it's not the greatest, but I think it really, really is working for the comic book and for the actual like full-on storyline of who she is and what's going on with her. And I like how they did bring it in. The thing I missed, which is in most of the comic book storylines, is how she became Wonder Woman and got to man's world, as they call it. So there's a big contest that's supposed to be how they decide who will represent the Amazons in the world of man. And that isn't in the movie. But after seeing it a second time, I realized for pacing's sake and to make the movie go forward, it was better that they didn't do that, because then it keeps the movie going. It gets them from point A to point B to point C. And I love that they kept the movie going. They didn't stay on too many like off tangent plot devices. They kept going forward. Etta Candy, it was great they had Etta Candy in there, and she's the personal secretary of Steve Trevor, but they didn't like make it too much about her storyline, but she's a part of everything. in they made her have some levity. They made her seem funny, and she was there to help Wonder Woman integrate into society from a woman's standpoint, which is what needed to happen. I mean, they don't do that very well in the comic books actually, but they did a better job with it this way. Someone asked me earlier today, would they say this is the greatest comic book movie ever? I don't know if I'd go that far, but of the most recent DC Comics made movies, I'd say it's the best one thus far, hands down. Patty Jenkins does an amazing job as the director. Gal Gadot does an amazing job as Wonder Woman. Chris Pine does a great job as Steve Trevor. Robin Wright, oh my gosh, Robin Wright. I could spend another hour talking about Robin Wright. She does a great job as Antiope, or Antiope. I mean, she brings the character to life in a way that I didn't think was possible and made her real. And it was hard to see her die off in the beginning, but it was worth it because it gave a sense of, I need to go and do this. She was someone who believed in Diana becoming Wonder Woman and going and saving the world from Ares, and I love that about it. The writers, Alan Heinberg and Zack Schneider and Jason Fuchs, I mean, a great job of integrating all this 75 years of history into this 2-hour movie. It's great. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you take a moment to hit the subscribe button, like this video if you liked it, and leave a comment about what you thought was great about this movie and what you are looking forward to seeing this summer in the way of movies, because there's a lot coming out. And and this Friday I will be dropping another video, another vlog, and talking more about Wonder Woman and who she is and what my reading recommendations for someone who's never read Wonder Woman is. All right, so thanks for watching.